What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Nostalgically Hip podcast. That's right. I'm your host Andy, and this is Ryan. And only for only $9.99 a month, you can just send me $9.99 a month, and we'll discuss that later. Anyway, what's up, Ryan?
Not much. This is it, buddy. We're sitting here again, alone in a room on a Wednesday night with no listeners.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't think it gets any better than that.
I don't either. You know what? I want to be fucking honest with you, man. When I say that, I don't give a shit, man. I'm doing this for you and me. I'm not. It's nice to have listeners. Don't get me wrong, but that ain't why I'm doing this.
Well, it would help if we had an audience. You know, I play better.
Speaking of, thanks. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, my mom, she's too old to figure out how to work a computer, let alone freaking tune in for a podcast.
That's
she's
all right.
Know that I even have one. Like I said the other day, I go, well, you could see me more often if you were to watch the podcast. And she said, what's that? And who are you?
Wow. Really? Wow. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, can you wipe this drool off my chin?
Right. We're getting there, buddy. Getting close. I'd say, man, I hope she's not listening, but I already know.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So, as I'm frantically flailing here, trying to sharify the podcast and whatnot, why don't you bail me out and keep talking for a minute so I can get this figured out?
Yeah, go right ahead. What are you trying to do? Figure out how we can get funds donated, or are you just?
No. Funds donated, man. We need listeners first, but that's okay. I'm totally willing.
I had to pull in here a second ago because I was doing. I was watching a Columbo, like more of the more modern ones. I'm on season 10 now. We've talked about this. I've been a little bit late to the game in terms of Columbo. I think everybody's seen him but me. But I really kind of go down that rabbit hole, and I kind of started getting into it. I think a little bit later last year, December, and then I picked it back up, so I'm rolling into season 10 right now. So I'm kind of starting to see some people that I know from like when we were kind of kids, were like more 90s, I think it's it. But William Shatner was in this last one.
Oh God!
I was ever a Star Trek guy, and so I never got the whole, and you know how he talked, but man, he is really fucking bad. Like really over the top. I had seen the Twilight Zones back in the day. He was in a couple of Twilight Zones. I think the Mystic Seer and whatnot. And I thought he was good in that. Maybe not quite as over the top, but I definitely he's definitely something to see, especially this version, because he has like almost a Hitler mustache.
Oh God!
It's cropped on the sides, but it's definitely flatlined on the lip.
And this is Shatner?
William Shatner, yeah. And I guess the year probably be 93, 94.
Ryan,
yeah,
I've got to get a boner.
Yeah, and dude, he is so, and he's got the hands are hands are always kind of look like
T-Rex.
Yeah, like a T-Rex, but like a bunny rabbit, because they kind of come into the.
I'm so upset because I can't masturbate with my arms like this.
Yeah, it was but yeah, so I kept playing it, and then someone would call me, so I'd have to get up, and I'd come back like 30 minutes later, and I'd have to rewind the damn thing and start over, and then somebody else would call me, and so I just kept doing that. So when I go back, I'm gonna have to rewind the whole damn thing again. So kind of, it's an installment thing. I'm getting it in quarters. So
well, how dare they freaking call you while you're watching some garbage ass show?
That's that family life. Well, you know what it's like. You can't do. Of course, you lock yourself away. I can't really do that. They find me. Yeah,
there are times, and when they do find me, I just threaten them with severe bodily harm.
Right, dude. Well, I'll even go in, like in our studio here. I got like a freaking treadmill, and I'll go in there and just walk on a treadmill with my headphones in, and they'll freaking come in and ask me something while I'm walking.
Of course,
I can't hear them, and they'll be talking to me. It's my job to stop what I'm doing, pause the headphones, and take orders.
They wait until you get in there. You know that, right?
No, it doesn't, dude. They come to me in the shower. It's like I'm freaking showering.
Of course. They wait. That's how they know you're doing something, and they wait. All right, I could ask Dad this. Nah, fuck it. He's gonna get in the shower in a minute, or he's gonna start a movie. I'll wait. Oh wait,
Yeah, when he gets his time.
right.
And then every now and again, I don't know if you do this, but I'll just blow up and I'll
Oh
just
man,
like start like screaming and go, and everyone will look at me and go, "What is wrong with you? That's uncalled for." And in my mind, it's not because this is all built up to this, but to them, it's definitely out of control. I'll scream for a little bit and then I'll be cool for like another 3 months, and it keeps same thing. Dogs, kids. My mornings start pretty early. It's still dark out. I get up and my dog's already making demands. So that's pretty much how it goes till I die. You,
uh,
have you been got to that point? Yeah, we're 50, early 50s, right? You get to that point where you're like, yeah, bring it on. Like you think to yourself, like, why is everybody so afraid? What's everybody so afraid of? Oh,
man. Truth be told, I've been like that for a long time.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Well, for me, it's kind of you go through that phase where you're like, man, this is great. I got the greatest life in the world, and then you go through that phase like you're just like, I'm just wore out. Why can't I just die? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Does that sound
yeah, I
cool?
have I
Because
have
my
days
somebody
like
else
that.
said that, like, you shouldn't say that. You might not wake up in the morning.
Well, guess what? There's going to be one point in time where you're not going to wake up in the morning. Just saying,
Yeah.
it's that one thing we all have to do.
Right. That's for sure. It's die and pay taxes, right? And pay more.
Yeah,
Die and pay to Ukraine. Die and pay for.
yeah, that's right.
That's where
Pay
we're
for
at.
that $100 a barrel oil. That's what it is.
It's
Believe that
coming.
shit?
It's
We're going,
first. Invest in oil. I am not a financial advisor, but invest in oil. It's coming. 1st of January.
dude.
Ben Salam hates him, and he is going to kill those barrels of oil to get him out of office. So, everyone keeps talking about that. Like, well, I think he's going to run again. It's like, I don't think he's going to win because the gas prices are going to be about $6-7 next year in October. So,
Well, shit, they're
sure.
already that expensive out in what do you call it, out in California?
They're going to be 14 there.
Shit,
What do
it's
we got?
ridiculous.
375 here?
Something
Is it
like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, look at your MARPs, look at your, ESOA. Again, I am not a financial advisor, but it wouldn't hurt you to take a look.
I'm not a financial advisor either. So look at your ABCs, your EFGs. Yeah, I got nothing else. AED. I
Yeah,
don't know.
DDEs. Yeah.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Or you could do an even better thing, I think, right now, and that is invest in a nuclear bunker or family fallout
Oh,
shelter.
go on. I'm listening.
Yeah, well, that's I've been listening to a lot of what's going on, and it sounds like, especially after we had our buddy Mark Sargent on, right? And he told us that he thinks the diversion from the next presidential election is going to be a war involving Russia. So if that's the case, we're all going to need nuclear bunkers, and those of us, well, I don't know if we're old enough to remember, but we definitely came across a few in our days because they were the big thing. Um,
I I don't know if we'll be. I don't know if it'll be Russia or China. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but what's always a big distraction? Well, war. What's always a big moneymaker? War. I don't doubt it for a second, man.
Yeah. In it, yeah. So, we were talking about this tonight. We were kind of throwing something together because we don't prepare. So we were throwing this together and we said, well, let's
Not
do
usually.
nuclear bunker because we talked about that before, right? Because that seems kind of like a thing so far from the past. We all had, we knew somebody, I think, right, that had a bunker that you'd see like remember that you'd see like the vent, the flue, because there'd always
Oh
you'd see it
yeah,
in their front yard. It'd be like it looked like the plumbing stack on top of a house, but it was in the front yard in the grass. You're like, I
right.
wonder what that is. They'd be like, well, we have a bunker. And I'd never actually, I don't know about you, but I never actually got the chance to go inside one. And I think the only time I've ever
Mm-mm.
seen one was in that Twilight Zone, which we can talk about. I don't know if you'd ever seen it. I think it was like 1961 episode where Twilight Zone did the neighborhood one where a nuclear war was about to happen and only one family had the nuclear bunker. and the other families didn't feel that it was important to invest in a nuclear
Right.
bunker at the time, but all of a sudden, now that nuclear war was upon them, they all needed to get into that nuclear bunker, and the family had to turn them away. So I think that was the only
I
thing that,
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, there's like some bunk beds and there were some cans. Remember, because that would be the thing, right? You'd have to have some cans and
Canned water.
cans of noodles.
Do you believe they had that shit? They had canned water. I'm not even making that up. It's generic ass. You remember the old white label, the white background, the black letters?
Well,
It would,
I remember the beer cans. It said
yeah,
beer.
yeah. It was just like that, but they were in like a big ass industrial, like an industrial tomato paste or tomato sauce can,
Okay.
and it said water.
Why don't I believe you? But I should.
I mean, you can look it up if you don't believe me.
What does water cost?
I don't know. It was all government. It was all government.
Government gave you the water? Yeah. So it already had
Well,
radiation.
it was. Yeah, it was already surplus, so it probably had some dioxin or some agent, fucking purple rainbow color, fucking whatever in it. Probably tetanus, and you get tetanus from opening the can, and then you'll get typhoid from drinking that damn water. Jesus.
Yeah, you probably got sicker from that. Yeah, but do you think that anybody ever really needed to drink it because of there obviously wasn't a nuclear war? So unless you wanted to see what that water tasted like,
I was gonna say honestly, no. There's no good reason to, but I would try. But you know what I would do is I would boil it first. I would take the water out of the can.
Pre-boiled?
Well, supposedly yes, but you don't work for the government as long as I did, and trust them. Wait,
Wow.
sorry, I was kidding. Whoever's listening, I was kidding.
Says
Look
the
it
guy
up.
that works for the U.S. government. It's interesting that you bring that up because every time I always wonder, man, am I over at the top? I always think of all the people that I know who are military, and I know quite a few. I don't know how it worked out that way, but I seem to attract police or military guys that become my friends, or I know them somehow or another. And like I said, whenever I fall off, I think I'm falling off the deep end, and I think, what am I doing? What am I thinking? I think all those guys agree with me, or most likely I heard this shit from them, and they
Right.
fought the country. They were involved in it. They were part of it, so part of the system.
Well, if you'd stay out of those gay bars, you might stop running
That's where
into
they
all
all
those
are, especially the
sailors and
Yeah,
cops.
the sailors, they're especially there. They're deep.
Fucking
They're thick.
seamen.
They are thick in those bars. White tight shorts and
All
yeah,
them seamen.
right, seamen.
Well, it's a raining man. Where's my soundboard when I need it? Anyway,
That's tonight's subject of bunkers. Is you were kind of like in bunkers with men.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's big and black and full of semen?
What?
A submarine. Get your mind out the gutter, fool.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So that was going to be the conversation tonight, and I didn't prepare at all. We talked about this earlier. I wrote bunker fact because as I was searching around, I think I sent you a website so you could put the picture, because there's actually a picture on that Smithsonian website that I sent you.
Oh, yes.
So this was a sales pitch because the Cold War was coming, and after 1940s, when we bombed the shit out of Japan, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, that became a real threat, right? Like anything would, because it was such a on the top of mind, and they started selling these and getting into it. Now
Here we go.
it actually was becoming like a I mean, this was like a sale. Like, look how happy they are. They can't go outside for 10 years, but you wouldn't know it. Just look at them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play Uno. Is it Uno? Uno. You could play checkers.
look
You
at this
could play
dude's face,
backgammon.
man. Look at his
Over-
face.
Right? Look at the food.
That
Over
poor
here, we
motherfucker.
stack your food. You don't need an oven because your food, well, what is that? Wouldn't be it can't be perishable, right? So
It's all dehydrated.
yeah, all sucked up. So, yeah,
That
you look at that picture, it looks. What the picture should be like this. You see the family and they look like they're fucking happy, but it shouldn't be. There should be some dude on that bed all alone because he lost his family in the war with a freaking gun sticking out. Remember Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, the first
oh
one?
yeah.
He's
Oh
sitting in
yeah.
the trailer and he's lost his family and he's got a sunshine outside. He's on the beach. He's on the
Right.
California coast. And he's in there, he's got the gun in his mouth. That's what you would be doing in a nuclear fallout.
Well,
That's what
look at his face.
They're playing backgammon.
Let me go back to this dude because everybody else is smiling except this dude, man. Look, he knows. He's like, I'm gonna fucking punch this bitch in her mouth. It's gonna be 10 minutes in this bunker. She's gonna get it.
Yep. He's like, wait till the kids go to bed.
Oh man, they might not even.
And throw her out the chute. It's a chute,
Dude.
right? I think it was like a ladder with a manhole cover.
Yeah, depended on. I mean, a lot of them had different hatches, if you will, to get in or out. But most of them, yeah, you had to climb up and down the ladder to access it. But man, I would, dude.
You tell me what you think. There'd still be police. They'd show up like Columbo. They'd show up. He'd want to investigate the crime. He's like the only guy. He's like, I'm the only one that can come out. I'm the only one with the hazmat suit. He's there to investigate. He's like, what happened, sir? And he's like, I don't know. She was climbing up the ladder.
She fell.
She just fell.
She fell. She, you know.
I wasn't even anywhere near her. Anywhere. Ask the
Right.
kids. I was over 2 feet there. I was 2 feet over in the corner, as far away from her as I could possibly get.
I was asleep, man. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I woke up and found it like this.
It was them damn kids.
And her throat was cut. I don't know how that
Free! She committed suicide, sir. She has 16 stab wounds in her back. She must have fell. I don't know.
She was talking really, really crazy before.
Right. God. So imagine. Can you imagine if you knew up front that war was imminent or that some kind of public pandemic happened again and we had to isolate ourselves like that? Could you imagine? What would you bring?
Really? So now we gotta be more clear. Are we alone? Or do we have the family like this guy has?
Well, yeah, let's do both options.
Alone. Okay, so if I'm alone, a fleshlight
For sure.
and some smut, and there's probably going to be more lotion than there's going to be canned water.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And there's shit at that point. You know, like when I watch those shows and they show like the end of the world and they're always, and you see the guy drinking the whiskey and they want you to think shouldn't you be more focused? I would just have a lot of alcohol. Or at that point, I might even smuggle on some cocaine because I've never done it, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to sit here in this bunker. I'm going to be lines of coke.
What's the worst that can happen?
Get my fleshlight.
Oh, Jesus.
Just think.
Lines of coke and a fleshlight, you'd wear that motherfucker out in a week.
Batteries.
Oh, shit.
Are they rechargeable? Can you recharge those? Because you would need batteries because you'd have no power. Which brings me to another topic. Look how happy they were just sitting on that bed. You wouldn't have power. And we all know that, well, at least today, if that happened, nobody could do without their internet. So
Right. Well, a lot of those bunkers, even back then, had generators. But they weren't the generators that we have today. They were these big-ass, monstrous, industrial-sized generators.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so but then you'd have to have gas, and I guess that's
Right.
probably where the vent went, the fumes, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like
Vent them out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because your generator would be just in some of the examples that I've seen, it'd be in a completely separate room with its own ventilation. Because the last thing you want to do is be safe from the nuclear war, but fucking die from carbon monoxide poisoning. That'd be pretty stupid, wouldn't it?
My wife gets killed. I don't know. I told her to put her mask on, but she couldn't find it. The guy's clogging up the ventilator pipes.
So you know the cloth mask is not sufficient to protect from CO2. No, what?
Who told you
What?
that?
Fauci said it would work.
Dude, can we get flagged for that? Is that
Probably.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, so what would you bring?
Um.
You
So I would bring, I'd bring at least part of my arsenal and a lot of ammunition.
four. You got a fucking sewer drain. Nobody's getting in.
We'll make damn sure of it. Besides, bring them with me because once the
If you have to
area
go
is sufficiently cleared, yeah, you still have to hunt.
Here.
What's that?
So I was looking it up because I was curious. So, like, if you committed to this,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I got to be honest. I'm just going to say it right. Get it right out of the way. I'm not committing to that. I'm not. Life isn't so precious that I need to live in a freaking cave underground like that. So I would just be like, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, right?
Right.
I wouldn't even worry about that. But 10 years. So it said at least for radiation to clear. So if that were to really happen, it's 10 years before you can go outside.
You're
Now,
fucked either way.
you're fucked. Yeah. I mean, and it's never going to be normal. You're going to have to rebuild a society. And what's crazy is the further I searched into it, it still is going on today. These rich elites have crazy ass bunkers, crazy like mansion bunkers underground that are guarded right now by people in case it happens. But what are you going to come out to? Really? You got so much money. What are you going to come out to? You're not going to come out to anything. It's all gone. And then you're going to build a business? No, you're going to be scavenging for the rest of your life.
Be using them bills to wipe your ass with.
Well, we both know those people don't know how to survive outside of business. So if you have to
Right.
reinvent, the reason why like we talked about this last week, the reason why so many people are, nobody wants to go out and hunt, to be a hunter and gatherer again. And most of these people aren't equipped for it. They're certainly not equipped to fight wars and survive like fucking Rambo was.
That's for
So they're
sure.
done anyway. They'll be done with the first guy they come across that was a freaking Green Beret or whatever. He's going to take their shit, probably rape them, and then move on, right?
Depends on what he looks like. I mean, I'm totally against rape.
So you take your arsenal. You take your what?
That's a great question, man, because most of the stuff that you would have in your house normally wouldn't be worth a shit down in that environment anyway.
No.
Your food, all that, your perishable stuff, that'd be, you can't rely on that. It's a good question, man. I would probably maybe bring a DVD player. But then again, what DVDs would I watch? Because you can only watch something for so long before you just go ape shit.
Let's name our movies. What would we? Because this is the nostalgically hip podcast. So let's be serious for a moment. Let's talk about some real stuff.
The hell you say?
Let's just say that your bunker came equipped with a DVD player, backgammon, and what movies would you bring? Top 5.
Heartbreak Ridge for sure, because I love that movie.
Right. Which I just picked up the other day, by the way. So
Did you?
I haven't had a chance to watch it. Yeah, after we talked about it.
Excellent.
All about it.
Excellent. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I would say. Because you got to have some levity thrown in there. Caddyshack,
Great one.
for sure. We don't need any rom-com bullshit in there because that would just make me want to eat a bullet.
I can't even think of any, but nothing with Matthew McConaughey. Then that's what you're saying.
All right. If the only one I would have with him is Dazed and Confused.
I've never seen it, but I think I've seen pieces of it. Like it's been on TV. It's just nothing that I was kind of in that age where I wasn't watching.
It's a very nostalgic movie. See what I did there? Because it deals, right? Deals with the 70s. Matthew McConaughey plays a fucking pothead. Shocker. It's a good movie, man. It's got what's that douchebag's name that played Batman?
Bale?
Ben Affleck.
Affleck, okay.
Yeah, he's in it.
Well, he's great. He's terrific in everything.
Oh yeah, ask him. He'll tell you.
He actually was a great Batman, and that's only because Batman's haunted, and you don't get a whole lot of emotion. The real Batman, right? So you don't want to get a whole lot of emotion, and Affleck just kills that.
Nailed it.
He nails it. He's got that.
Boy,
down.
your range on that, buddy. Outstanding. God.
No, Ben did all these in one take. All of them.
Alfred, I need you to wipe my ass. I can't get this damn suit off.
So
Why don't we see realistic superheroes? You know what I'm saying?
did you say Dazed and Confused?
Dazed and Confused.
You would take that with you?
Yeah, man, that's a great movie.
So you did
If
technically two stoner movies because you did Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's kind of a coming of age, but
right.
yeah.
So Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I would pick because, as I've told you on a previous show, that was the first rated R movie that I snuck into.
Right. Yeah.
So that's got some meaning behind it, right?
Okay.
First pair of titties I ever seen on the big screen, you know?
Jennifer Jason Leigh, right? Or no?
Yeah.
But you get to see Jennifer Jason.
Both. Yeah. Heartbreak Ridge is just because being... All right, so Heartbreak... It would be a toss-up. Heartbreak Ridge or Full Metal Jacket. Probably both, to be perfectly honest. The Dazed and Confused I brought up only because you asked about a Matthew McConaughey movie. We're talking about rom-coms. And I said that's probably the only one that I would bring if it would be a Matthew McConaughey. So it's not necessarily on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow, so there's what, 4? I don't know what my 5th one would be.
It's tough, right?
It is tough. I like comedies, but I like my old school shoot 'em up stuff. You know what? I wouldn't bring this, but the only reason I'm bringing it up now is because do you remember the movie The Outsiders?
Yeah, of course.
So my daughter is actually reading that in school right now. And you talk about bringing back some memories. I'm like, oh man, that was a good movie, man.
Yeah, Ford Coppola. Yeah, it's about the time he was working with Matt Dillon a lot.
Yep.
And they did Rumblefish shortly after that, I think. But what was that based on? That was W. Wheaton, right? W.C. Wheaton books,
Well,
I believe.
don't you cuss at me.
I think that's what it was. And he had I think he was going to make more of them too. That was based on that kind of same lifestyle of times. But yeah, that was a great movie. But I remember the fucking stars in that movie, dude. The star power. What, Swayze, C. Thomas Howell at the time was on fire.
Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez,
Matt Damon, or Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon, Dally. Nobody does Rumble without me. Soda Pop, Rob Lowe.
Yep, Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
Although I think he was a little bit too pretty to be in that fucking movie.
Yeah, even that, but he's in it briefly because he's the brother, right? It's Daryl, Soda Pop. Remember even Diane
Pony
Lane?
Boy.
Diane
Oh
Lane.
yeah, Pony Boy.
Leif Garrett.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Garrett was killed in the fountain. And Ralph Macchio.
Well, he deserved it.
He did deserve that shit.
Yeah. Fucking punk. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he deserved that big time.
But I remember, I had to read that book in school too. So it was just kind of cool in a way that she's, reading the same book that I had to read at that age, and we're gonna watch the movie together later. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I haven't seen it in years, dude. It might be tough to watch because I just remember the music. Wasn't it Stevie Wonder? Like had like
I don't remember.
You ever see the sunshine in the morning? Me too, or whatever the hell it was. Cherry was it? Who was it? Cherry. Diane Lane's character.
Cherry Girl or
I can't remember. Pony Boy.
Pony Boy, yeah.
2-Bit.
Ralph Macchio was the perfect cast for that, though. He just looked like a little greaser, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And that's kind of what we deal with today, right? Like what that movie covered is kind of what we deal with today, class. But now it's more, race is everything that matters, skin color.
Right.
Kind of the same thing. It just seems to be a fucking circle, but we just, rotate in and out who's going to be the Who's going to play the lead this week? Who's going
You
to
know,
play
I'm
the
I'm
Brett?
gonna I'm gonna shift gears a little bit, and we'll come back. But I've been noticing a lot more on YouTube lately. There's a lot of Black Americans out there putting videos out that are leaving the Democratic Party and that are
Yeah.
pro Trump, and it's just. I don't want to say it's good, but it's nice to see that people aren't blindly following and they're making decisions for themselves nowadays.
I don't think you have much of a choice. No.
Yeah, you either
I mean,
follow blindly and
well, you
but
got to, you got to go. Do you keep going along with something you know is bullshit? But it's like we all want to hear what we want to hear, and especially if it suits us. But eventually, you got to ask yourself, we all want to eat pizza every day our entire lives and cake, but is it good for us? Eventually, there comes a time when we say, okay, I got to clean this shit up because I'm going to die if I don't. And I think that's
wait,
where a lot of people are at.
are you serious?
Yes, you can't eat pizza and you can't eat cake every day.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What am I gonna
I
do,
think it's the
man?
same mentality, right? That's like if we tell you what you want to hear and make you feel the way you want to feel, you'll shut up and you'll keep quiet. And
Right.
that's always going to be the mainstay. And I think even you get black people today where they're just like, I don't buy it because it's really not us against them. It never really has been.
Nope.
That's what they'd like them to believe. But
It's
I'll take
uh,
anybody who thinks like me over, or has the same values that I have. I don't care what you are. And I think there's some that realize that. There's some that understand that going both ways. I think it goes to any color or person. It gets kind of extinguished when you um have the same values. It really doesn't fucking matter. And if you don't believe that, look at football teams or sports teams. You talk to any of those guys, and in the locker rooms and clubhouses, it doesn't matter because you're all in this war together, and you're a
yeah.
team. That's what they don't want. They don't want you teaming up. They don't want you teaming up. So you got to divide them because if we become a team, we become too powerful.
I tell you, man, being a military brat and then being in the military for as long as I was, I didn't see color, man. Because we're all in the military, we're all together, we're all in the same shit. But if you're a shitbird, it had nothing to do with the color of your skin. It had everything to do with your characteristics. And if I didn't like you, it was because you're a douchebag, and that's why, man.
Yeah.
So I had to counsel this young sailor once. This was quite a while ago. He was underage drinking, got caught, and one of my little more senior, junior to me, but a little more senior to this other guy, he was started counseling him, and he stopped it and he brought me in because it was going nowhere. Now they were both black, right? I know this is gonna surprise you, but I'm not black. But anyway, I know it's shocking. So I go in there and I'm counseling, and I'm not really saying much of anything at all. I'm letting my other guy handle it. And then he out of nowhere, he looks at me and says, "You're just doing this because I'm black. Oh, you don't like me because I'm black." And I looked at him, I said, "No, I don't like you because you're a fucking piece of shit and you never do what you're supposed to do." And he did not see that coming at all. But my point is that's exactly how I looked at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Prove to me the character is worth treating you like a decent person, and that's how I'll treat you. But if you're a piece of shit, I'm gonna treat you that way as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's reasonable. It's the way it is. It's the way it should be. And I think that I do think that there's always going to be some people that don't. But you got to ask yourself this: we've all seen whether you're white or whether you're black, and we've all met the white guy that we can't fucking stand. And it has nothing to do with that. You give me a person who has the same values and stuff as me, and then you give me some guy who doesn't. I don't give a shit. You have freaking. You could just be a lump of coal and rather be around you. It doesn't matter. That shit doesn't matter. It's there's just so many examples you could make of that. But in the end, I think it comes down to who are you gonna win with? That's what's going to
Right.
be important. And in the end, color's not going to matter. And that's why you see this push for that divide so much, is because if you believe that you can just look at everything so simply as skin color or this and that, if it were really that easy, then that, and you believe that, then you won't get together and find common interests, qualities, values, and because you'll be separated by just that stupid, which is the dumbest thing in the world,
It is dumb.
based on that, or even a handicap. You can't look at someone. We don't look at it for size. We don't look at it for, there's a lot of shit you just can't base it on, and you gotta think outside that, and anything less than that's just ridiculous. But yeah,
So, you bring up a good point about the handicap thing. We were 2 years ago at Windy War Empire Academy, and we're sitting around after, the class was over for the day, sitting around at the bar, BS, and this lady, they were having a some kind of high school reunion at the same hotel. Well, this lady, she's a good 20 years older than me, and she was shithouse drunk. And so she comes up, she's talking to us, and she's asked why we're there, and we tell her why we're there. Meanwhile, my buddy's a below the knee amputee. He's got his fake leg with him, his peg leg. But she was so drunk, she didn't even. She goes, "Well, you guys don't look injured to me." I said, "First of all, ma'am, some wounds can't be seen. And secondly, you're so fucking drunk you can't even see his fucking fake leg sitting there." And that's when they're like, "All right, doc, you need to go to bed." Because it just set me off the way she said that.
Was that in the drinking days or?
No, I was stone cold sober, man, but it set me off.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that kind of shit does, right?
I have no problem punching a fucking old broad in her mouth for saying something stupid.
Right, yeah.
Wait, is this thing live?
Hey, can I pick my fucking movies? You think
Yeah.
Can I bring some movies along?
Is it
right now? Here's how I see your bunker.
Actually, we gotta go.
Your bunker's got guns. Your bunker's got freaking stoner movies. My bunker, nothing. I don't have any fucking movies. I got a DVD player. Can I pick a movie?
Boring.
I give you 5 because I wrote down a list of 5. I actually did prepare for this. Tombstone.
Oh, good movie.
Right, it's a great movie.
That is a good movie.
Already. Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? You got to have that. You could even say 1, 2, and 3, but I'll just say 1 since I'm only getting 5.
Well, if it's a box set, that counts as 1 in my opinion.
Good. Okay, yeah. So technically, I'd just bring a bunch of box sets or great.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fucking A. I like the way you think.
The Unforgiven, right? Because I didn't get into that till a little bit later, but man, that's a good movie, right?
It is a good movie.
Yeah. So that puts us 1 for 1 with the Clint Eastwood. And then I put The Spy Who Loved Me, right? That's a great movie. Have you seen that recently?
Yeah, not recently.
Oh, good. And then I View to a Kill as my cheese factor. So between those two, but I'd probably go with The Spy Who Loved Me if I wanted something more serious. And then I put down The Great Outdoors, man, because I love that. Me and my daughter always watch that together. It's kind of like that's a feel good movie for me. Summer feel good movie. So
yeah,
that or Dirty Rotten Scoundrels for a good laugh on the side. Maybe some planes, trains, and automobiles, but it would definitely be one of those 3. So that's my 5. Now I've got 5 movies.
Those aren't 2 pillows.
There's Dallas for my flashlight.
Oh. Well, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we'd have to bring some smut, because that's another question. I was thinking about this when I was writing it. So you see that you see that picture of the guy sitting on the bed and they're all happy, but it's gonna be hard to knock one out there. And if you're alone, and probably not even if you're alone, if you were just with your family and you had even with your wife there, you're probably rubbing them out somewhere. So that guys, I guarantee you, if you went down and, like, if your grandpa had a bunker and he died and you were cleaning up his shit, and someone said to you, "Hey, go down and see what he's got in the bunker. Let's clear that out too before we, sell the house." And I'll bet you there's in 90% of all bunkers, there's a fucking smut magazine, right?
I bet you there's a 98.
On, bro.
There's a 98% chance there's a fucking sock down there standing up on its own too.
Right, there's something, but I guarantee you, dude, like under the mattress, maybe under one of those crates with the
water,
Swedish meatballs, canned water, whatever, dried eggs. There is a smut magazine. I guarantee every one of them had it. They might have even given you one for free when you purchased.
Yeah, that's a good selling point.
Yeah. Say, hey, and for the gentleman, they probably just said it. That's probably what they said. Hey, ma'am, could you leave me and the husband alone for a bit? And they sent her off on her way, and she skittled out of there
Right.
with on it in her freaking little purse up to here.
Well,
And
hey there, little lady. Why don't you head over and check out the kitchen section?
we have some free pots and pans over here that we're giving away. Sir, you're gonna wanna come here with me. They probably today in those ones, the bunkers probably have like fleshlights built into the wall. Little glory hole, you know? And you could like just stick your shit in there. But they design it. They'd make it look like something else, right? So the wife wouldn't be privy. She'd just be like, "What's
Right.
this?" And the husband would be like, "Oh, that's the fire extinguisher. In case there's a fire, it sprays out."
How do you drain that motherfucker? That's kind of
I
gross.
have to imagine if you paid, because what would a bunker cost today? I think they were probably like 25 grand back then, right? If you bought one, well, maybe 4,500, something like that, which would have been about a fortune. But they probably have plumbing, just drains out like a
Hooked up to the fleshlight?
septic tank
Wow.
that would be for semen. Can you imagine?
Semen.
Just freaking, and they'd say to you, they'd have to say, unlike urine and stuff, the semen does flake and dry up. So we got this little semen plunger, and they'd have to give it to you. You'd have to, of course,
Looks
clean it
like
out.
somebody spilled a box of instant potatoes in here.
It would probably look like a boar snake that you get like to clean your guns.
Yeah.
You already have one.
Yeah.
It's probably about the same size as the inside of a barrel. So you'd be good to go. Because they'd have to size you up
Interesting.
for the flashlight, right?
Right.
They go, ooh,
Would they?
you're gonna need the extra. You're gonna need the Magnum. You're gonna need the Magnum flashlight.
Sir, I'm sorry we don't have a model that comes with that small. Terribly sorry.
Yeah, we got the pocket and the handheld for you.
But it's
You can keep
cute.
this on your keychain. You don't need to drive in your car anymore. You can just put your flashlight.
For what it's worth, it's cute. Good luck with that, buddy. Are you sure that kid's yours?
What? So you're going to be in there for 10 years for sure, right? What albums would you bring?
Oh, wow. I would have to bring, for sure, hands down, any Pink Floyd's greatest hits.
Mm-hmm.
Queen greatest hits. That's a tough one, man. Because there's so much. God, man, there's so many good. Yeah, I would. Appetite for Destruction.
GNR.
Yep, for sure.
Good one. That would get you motivated, pumped, right?
Yeah.
You get the Queen to bring you all down.
Well, no, there's some pumped up songs on the Queen, but the Pink Floyd one for sure. You're not getting motivated to do shit with that.
But so keeping the Pink Floyd one in mind, you're gonna have to bring multiple fucking vape pens.
Or
Because when you hit the Pink Floyd, it's a PCP.
I got it covered, man. Part of my bunker is going to be a grow house.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Like those movies where you're watching the guy's like on Mars. What's your job? Your job's to go up there and cultivate agriculture. And the guy's in a tent with like a greenhouse. That would be you, but it'd be like pot leaves and maybe some cabbage.
Nah, it takes up too much room for the pot. Yeah.
Which sucks too. So you've got Pink Floyd, you've got GNR, you've got Queen, you got two more.
Oh wow. Bob Marley's greatest hits.
Jesus, dude. So you're gonna need one of those crates that you see in that picture will have to be marijuana or vape pens.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're throwing a Bob Marley in there. That's
I'm not detecting a problem here, sir.
okay. So that's four. Yeah, you got one more.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston.
Oh, hey, I want to dance with somebody, man. You know what? I would pick, actually, since you brought up that. I don't know why I thought of it this way, but the soundtrack to Vision Quest.
That would be one of the ones you'd take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's one, I mean, it's a great it's a great album to begin with. But there's one particular song on there by Red Rider, Lunatic Fringe.
Lunatic Fringe.
So and it's a cult thing. I get it, but most of the guys I knew that wrestled back when I was in high school, that was a song that you listen to before a match, to get pumped up, and I still like to listen to it. I actually listened to it for actually a few of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu matches. Before I had those matches, I would listen to it. It's awesome. I love it. So if I got to get motivated to find that fleshlight, I'll just put on the friggin' Lunatic Fringe.
You could really smack your shit to the Lunatic Fringe.
Shit, man.
Up builder too.
What's that?
Dean.
Oh,
so
shit, man.
Whole freaking thing going, and then
I wouldn't get that far. I wouldn't make it that far.
Says here my battery's running low.
On what?
Let's see something quick. Well, it says my battery's running low, but I don't know how. I got it plugged in.
On your computer?
Yeah. I think I got it back. Yeah, mine would be pretty simple. Well, not simple because they're hard, but a little Huey Lewis in the news for sports. I'd bring that one. Love that album. It's got a lot of hits. Van Halen, 1984.
Oh yeah, fuck Van Halen. I could have
Fall Out right there, right? We're in that area. For the upbeat, the metal, I would go Iron Maiden, probably Peace of Mind, right? So I could listen to that one because that's one of their better ones where it's more musical, and I could break down and listen to catch some of the innovation that they were hitting back then. They were hitting it high too. Stone Temple Pilots, I'd probably do that for core, right? Little 90s.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, and then I'd probably have to go, mix it up for my good drinking sessions would be Waylon Jennings, and I'd probably just throw the greatest hits there, which has a lot of good songs on it. He had a lot of good songs anyways, and that would give me a little bit of everything, right? I got a little bit of 80s, a little bit of 90s metal, a little bit of 90s, 80s metal, and then I got some 60s, 70s, 80s country.
Where was that? I was at 3, right? I'm at 3, or did I pick 4?
I think you did them, right? Because you did.
I said Queen.
You did
Pink Floyd, GNR.
Bob Marley, and then you did Vision.
Yep. Okay, good. Yeah, got them all, I guess.
Yeah.
If I had to switch one out, though, I'd probably go with a 90s country greatest hits.
Shania Twain.
Sure, she had some good shit back then, man. And she was hot.
Break it up a bit. You could break it up a bit, like because you're into the Pink Floyd, and you could switch over to the Shania Twain and whose boots? What is it? Whose bed? Whose bed have your boots been? I can totally see you like.
Oh yeah.
And you could.
Oh, in my Daisy Dukes and my cowboy boots. Fuck yeah.
Yep.
And nothing else.
That could be a really crazy question. If no one were going to be down there with you, what would you really be wearing?
I'll be honest, dude. I'm probably the most comfortable in like some basketball shorts and a t-shirt, maybe a hoodie like I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
I run around naked, man. You know what? I did that shit when I was younger. It gets cold quick and shit gets caught in places you don't really want to be getting caught in. So I'm okay with wearing some shorts, man.
What about this is something I just threw in there at the end as I was thinking about shit. Like, because you'd be, and we're missing so much stuff because you'd be so lost. There'd be so much shit you'd get down there. Like, we're getting ready to go on vacation and we'd be like, we're thinking of shit and we will forget something just going on vacation. So if you're going into a hole and you got to be down there for 10 years, because there is no coming out, right? I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but I don't think you come out. I think that's the whole point, right? Would you take it? What would be one TV show? You could take like multiple seasons. You could take like one season. You could take like a series, a mini series. One television show. What would you bring? Comedy, drama.
You know what? I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon. I'm gonna say Yellowstone. I've really enjoyed that series.
Okay. Have you seen the new season of that, by the way?
Not yet.
Yeah. I think it gets a little weak. It starts to kind of, you know what Yellowstone is? It's Dallas. Did you
Yeah,
watch
totally.
Dallas when you were younger?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what it is. And Dallas was a great show, but it really is just I'd say it's a mixture of Dallas and like Sons of Anarchy. That kind of combined. It's a little more violent. Dallas didn't have that kind of violence, but
Hmm.
it's really essentially the same.
Yeah,
Same
I
thing.
dig it. I mean, it's a guilty pleasure. I admit it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Man, I just bring Cheers, because I was thinking about that and I was like, what can I watch? There's a lot of shows that I can watch. I could take down there. Um, but Cheers is one of those ones where I can still put it on and laugh my ass off. Sam Malone makes me. There's so many characters in that show. And then I like Diane. A lot of people don't like the Diane years. Those are some of my favorites. But then the Kirstie Alley ones get great too.
Hmm.
Rebecca Howe. So I can
Woody
still
Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. There's so many. John what was it? John Ratzenberger, Sam, Shelley. What was it? What was his name? Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
Shelley
Yep.
Long, Kirstie Alley, Rhea Perlman, I think, right?
Rhea.
There's so
Yeah.
many, yeah. There were so
Um,
many. There's so many lines in there, dude. One-liners that just make me laugh my ass off.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I have not researched this yet. I plan to, but rumor has it that Woody Harrelson's dad was mixed up with either one of the letter agencies or the mob in some way,
Hmm.
and that potentially he had something to do with the Kennedy assassination. I don't know if you ever heard that before or not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, don't take it for gospel. I haven't looked it up yet, but I figured that was, you know what? If that's true, even a little bit, that's pretty fucking wild, man.
Yeah, I can see it though, right? Like there's a lot of speculation. There was speculation on what was the fucking we did it. We covered it. The Heaven's Gate, Deer Hunter, Michael
Mhm.
Cimino, the girl he ended up getting with, even though he gets divorced and he gets with a girl up in New York City, but she's basically his publisher. Is that what it was? She just followed him around. They're like everybody thought they were lovers, but they weren't. But they were
Side
always
hoe.
together. Yeah, they were never seen. But there was a rumor going around about that that he met her. Her family was involved in the mob, and he was getting a lot of stuff through there. Kept going through there. She helped him out, and he owed him a debt or something like that. So I mean, there was all kinds of shit. But I think there's deep connections to that, right? Even the Godfather's kind of got a link if you think
Yeah.
about it. The horse head and shit. And
Right.
yeah. So they probably back in the day got their hands into a little bit of everything.
I don't doubt it for a second, man. And because there weren't cell phone cameras and all that shit back then,
Hmm.
social media and all that stuff. But yeah, you know what? Honestly, if I had a bunker, everything that's in my camping trailer would probably be in there.
Yeah, it'd be easy for you because you already like these are the things that I need. Now I can just bring some other shit since it's going to be 10 years. This is the
Right.
thing that I need for 2 days. What am I going to need for 10 days? Me, I'd be like, well, I can't even figure out what I need for fucking a night. I'd be like, well, and then I'd probably change my mind and I'd go outside and get radiation poison.
Well, it happens, you know.
My fucking eyeballs are popping out. So like that's something we haven't covered is you would go out and you could get you'd get cancer. It was pretty bad, right? So you're stuck in there for 10 years. And I was going over it and I was kind of blown away that they had during that time frame after the 40s, because that's when it got really big. They had 500 million FCDA booklets that were being handed out. They would push the American family shelter way of life. That's a picture that you can kind of see there. Make sure so if you were prepared, you could make it. That was a selling point, right? Because everything's going to have a selling point. Like, well, why would I buy this? Well, if you're prepared, you can make it through this war. So I guess that I wonder if they ever talked about but you're kind of rolling the dice when you come out what the world's going to look like.
Yeah, it's going to be a shit show. It
gonna be-
really depends on where you're at, right? And if your city was one of the major cities targeted, because the fallout, the winds are going to carry the fallout a long, long way. And if you were, I'm not so sure that we'd be all that safe here, to be perfectly honest. because you got Scott Air Force Base, and then you've got the other Air Force Base that's over closer to, I think it's Whiteman, over by KC.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we.
I don't think that. I mean, I guess I don't know, but do you think that everything would be? Because I guess when I picture it like episodes of the Twilight Zone or movies, the apocalypses that I've seen or read about, where everything's just flattened and destroyed from the just the blast itself. Not even if you're in it, I assume it would blow a pretty big fucking size, right? And then it would spread out, and then there'd probably be multiple ones, right?
If we were to, the city itself were to receive a direct hit, we would probably be okay from the initial blast, but we would be fucked from the radiation because we're right there. I mean, we're only 40 miles away.
Yeah. Did you watch Chernobyl on HBO?
No,
Pretty good, man. And they kind of show like what happens on that front line when you're faced with that nuclear, the radiation, and it's fucking brutal, dude. Like I think nobody. Now I'm probably speaking on my ass here, but like most people died shortly after they got cancer. There was bleeding on the inside. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So one of my collateral duties when I was on a submarine is I was the radiation health officer. So I had to study nuclear physics. I had to, monitor the amount of radiation exposure that everyone was getting every month. And the nice thing is to know is that you and I get more radiation from natural background sources, just walk around daily, than you get on a submarine. So, and that's not classified. That's just, you could look that up and find that information out easily. But radiation, it's exactly what it does, man. It cooks you from the inside out. And it's a horrible, horrible way to die. Depending on the amount of radiation that you receive, you could be dead in a matter of minutes. Or I would prefer that myself, rather than having the lingering long-term effects of months and months and months of just agonizing pain and sickness. So,
yeah, they covered that really well in that miniseries, and then the people that weren't immediately on top of it, that were just kind of around, they got it a little bit less, of course, and then they lasted a few more years, but they all started dropping. It was kind of sad. It was sad, but it was more wow, like
yeah,
shocking to what it can do, what it does.
it's very sad, and it's very scary because you can't see it. You can't see radiation. And depending on what type you're getting hit with, I mean, the gamma is obviously the worst, but yeah, it would really, man, we would probably not get hit with multiple warheads here because they have so many other strategic targets located throughout the country. So it's not like they would all be focused here. The bigger, like Norfolk, Virginia, shit, they'd probably get a couple.
Yeah.
Washington, D.C., you better believe they're going to get a couple.
Yeah, who do you think? Because I was raised in Omaha, Nebraska, right? So there was was it Epley Air Force? That was where they had all the missile silos, allegedly.
Allegedly.
That would be. I always thought that was funny because I always considered us so insignificant that, like, certainly it's got to be New York City or something. But they were saying that would be because they'd want to try to get to all the major missiles, major Air Force, and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a huge strategic target.
Yeah, who do you think? How do you think that would go? Knowing what you know, I mean, just from being, what city do you think would be first? What do you think they'd focus on?
DC'd be first for sure.
For sure. Why?
You take out the leadership of the country.
Okay.
First and foremost, right? What's that?
So Joe Biden.
Well,
do you think they'd still do that? Or do you think
because
that means they're going to be able to?
Well, it's no secret how the how the government system works. If the president is taken out in war, who's next in succession and whatnot, right? Where's the majority of those knuckleheads at? They're right in DC.
Yeah, don't they immediately separate the vice president and the
Yeah,
president?
if there's time to do so.
Yeah, so we'd be in good hands then. I
Oh,
mean,
we'd be.
if something were to happen to our leader, we wouldn't. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Fuck.
Yeah.
Just let me run into the fucking initial blast zone naked before that happens.
Can you see the news broadcast right now? You can see it serious. Hold on, tie. Picture me with a tie and a suit, and that's maybe not anymore because John Fetterman's reinventing everything. But picture me in the news, ladies and gentlemen. We have just gotten news that we have been attacked. They have hit the Washington D.C. They have taken out the White House, and the president is gone. But don't worry, Hope is still there. They were lucky; they got the um, vice president out in time. So you're in good. And they'd say it with a straight face.
Right, Madam President.
It would be like you're in good hands, right?
Jesus Christ.
None
God
of
help
us.
us.
That's the worst part. Is none of it. All of us would be like, oh fuck.
Now we're really fucked.
Yeah.
It's bad enough we just got
What is it then? Secretary of
Speaker of the House, I believe.
Speaker of the House. So that's McCarthy.
Oh God.
I mean, I'm just running down scenarios here. So we got. So let me just write this down. So we got.
Line.
If they get Biden, let's run a scenario.
I'm
Not
gonna
that I
tell
want
you.
this to happen, but let's run a scenario. So we get look that up. And
So it's Vice President, Speaker of the House, President Tempore of the Senate, Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of Defense, Attorney General, Secretary of the Interior.
okay, so keep that up. Keep that up, and then I want you to give me the. So I'm going to go down the line here, and you tell me when we need to start worrying. Okay, so they get Biden.
Yeah.
They hit Washington. Biden's out. We're now out of president. Again, I don't want this to happen. I'm just. This is just hypothetical. This is like I'm drama. What is it? Dramatization. That's what I'm doing here. So he's gone, but she's good. So we're looking great, right?
Oh, we're looking fantastic.
But then something happened because I think they fly her away, right? They split them up. They immediately get her in a plane, so she's in the air. But then her plane gets taken out, so she's gone. So then we've got McConnell.
She died choking on a cock trying to get to be the president when she was already the president.
Her soul died for sure. So hold on here. Now we're out of president and vice president, right?
Right.
They got him in Washington. They took her plane out. Now who do we have?
We have Speaker of the House.
Okay, so who is McConnell or McCarthy?
Oh God!
Wouldn't it be great if it was McConnell? Because then woo.
Wouldn't have to worry about him talking about it. No, it's McCarthy.
It's McCarthy.
Yeah.
So then we're looking a little. Out of those three, who do you feel safer with?
Probably with McCarthy, to be honest.
For sure. Okay, so let's just say that he gets taken out. Then who do we get?
If he gets taken out, we get President pro tempore of the Senate, and that is fuck. Oh God, that's Patty Murray.
Patty Murray. I'm feeling better about this. Patty Murray.
I'm not. I'm really not.
like
not at all.
I don't know who she is.
She
Patty
is
Murray.
a Democratic senator from Washington. Washington State.
So we're good. So two things can happen there. We can still open the border. She's like, don't worry. The president's dead, the vice president's dead, and the Speaker of the House is dead, but we're still, don't worry, our plans to keep the borders open are going as planned. And then she gets hit.
Well, it wouldn't be fair if we blocked the borders and they couldn't get those nuclear weapons in here.
Don't worry, we are still giving your money to Ukraine, and we are still keeping the borders open. But then she gets hit. Then who do we have? Because that's crazy, Patty Murray. Well, this is becoming a little bit worrisome.
Well, then it becomes the Secretary of State.
And that's who?
Currently, that's Antony J. Blinken.
Oh, wow. So we're in a lot of fucking trouble. So now we got another Democrat. So we get
Right.
let me just get this straight. We get Biden, we get Harris, then we get McCarthy, Republican, then we get Murray, Patty Murray, she's Democrat, and then we get Blinken, another Democrat. So we're out of 5. We got 4 Democrats. I can see the equality here.
Oh, but wait.
So hold on. So if Blinken gets it, who do we?
But wait.
Oh, no, the AOC, because this is where I've really been headed.
No,
No?
it's worse.
Fetterman. Is it Fetterman?
No, it's Janet Yellen,
Janet Yellen,
Secretary of Treasury.
So the Secretary of Treasury, no shit. So they all get A's. So we got Biden, Harris, McCarthy, Patty Murray, Blinken's gone, and now we have Janet Yellen, who fucking is the one always telling us how good the economy is.
Right.
So
we can trust her to be honest.
So here we have 6 people right now. We went down a line of 6 people. All 5 of those 6 are all Democrats. Now I see the equality. Remember, this is all about equality.
Totally.
You can see the equality.
Totally.
Certainly you can. Then who?
Well,
because if we got Yellen, just tell me how far. How far until we get to AOC or Fetterman?
I don't think we do.
You don't?
No, these are all cabinet positions. They're all secretary of whatever. The very bottom, the last in line of succession is number 18, and that's the Secretary of Homeland Security. And I don't even know who that is right now.
That's that the dude that's that.
Mayorkas. What a piece of shit. Yeah.
So there you go, another Democrat.
Fucking that dude's a worth.
We got literally 1 Republican out of 7 people. 7 people.
Wow.
Worried?
Oh, I've been worried, dude.
No, I'm just saying in that protocol, we lose Biden, we lose Harris. I think we're best off with McCarthy. I definitely think we're in really good hands with Patty Murray, although I'll bet you her fucking parents couldn't identify her in a lineup. Can you pull up a picture of her? Do you know what she looks like? Because I'd like to see Patty Murray just so I know who our potential leader could be someday.
Oh, she's a fucking looker, boy. Let me tell you.
You think that she knows that she's 4th in line?
I would hit it, man. I would totally hit it with a fucking aluminum baseball bat.
Right.
Oh my God! Several times. I'm working on getting it pulled up. Give me 1 second here.
Have you heard of her?
Very brief. I couldn't tell you much about her. That's for sure.
Oh, that's nuts, dude.
Why is it not? There we go.
We know about Ukraine, but we don't know that Patty Murray. Oh wow.
Yeah, she looks like a Star Wars character.
That's a boner assassin right there, dude. That's boner problems. Boner problems. Patty Murray will fix that.
Yeah, I used to think of Roseanne Barr. Now I'm thinking about this chick.
Doctor, that's like the opposite. That's like Batman to Robin. She's like Viagra to Patty Murray, right?
Oh my God! What a
go down and like don't fear. I'm gonna send Patty over.
What a peach!
Taken care of.
What a fucking peach! More like a peach pit.
Go on. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna be really bad. So
well then go right ahead.
Look at some people and go, someone had kids with that. You see them with kids. You look, you see them, and you go, I got to see if she has kids or he has kids. You do. You're like, fuck.
Right.
Someone really jumped on a fucking grenade there.
And then you wonder, all right, are they first removed cousins? Or are they? You play the guessing game there, you know.
Wow, that's a hard fuck, right?
Oof. Wow. I tell you what, before we wrap it up, I would consider a shelter like that. And I'll tell you why. I am scared to death of tornadoes, man. Like, I'm just paranoid of them. Because when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, the day we moved into our house in Mobile, Alabama, Hurricane Frederick hit in 1979. And at the time, that was the 2nd largest hurricane that had ever hit the Gulf Coast. And there was a tornado that hit the house in front of us. I don't know how. completely missed our house and hit the house behind us. So living through that, man, it traumatized the shit out of me. So I'm scared of them. That's the only way I would consider getting one of those.
Yeah, we always growing up in Nebraska, we always had them, and we had I think it was like 70s. I can't remember, 77 or something. We had like 3 or 4 go through and tear everything up. Sirens were going off all the time. They go off here quite a bit. I mean, about once, twice a year for sure. I don't know how serious they are, like if we ever have touchdowns or not. But yeah, they've never really bothered me. I know that they can be devastating, but I don't know, dude. It's like I think I'd rather have those than fucking earthquakes. Like I guess I'd rather face death than have to put my paintings and pictures back up on the wall
I
every
don't know,
fucking
man.
third week of the month. You know what I mean?
When we lived in Japan, we'd get earthquakes all the time,
Mhm.
and okay, yeah, building shaking again, big fucking deal. But the tornadoes, man, and I think if I wouldn't have lived through one like that, I wouldn't view them that way. But when I came home, I think it was in my second to last deployment. Connie and I went out to see my buddy in Oklahoma, and so the day we were getting ready to come back here to St. Louis, that was the day that tornado, that F5 just destroyed Joplin. And if I wouldn't have seen that on the news, man, we may not be here right now. You know what I mean? It was just devastating. So living through one and seeing up close and personal the damage that they can really do, it fucks with me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've never been that close. At least when that happened to me, I was pretty young. I did used to see him kind of come out of the air. You'd see that you can kind of tell, especially if you've been around them a lot.
Yeah.
You'd see them kind of come down, and then they sometimes, well, from what I could tell, they went back up. I never actually seen one touchdown. Um, I mean, it's a weird, again, dude. I'd rather, like, I hear about earthquakes, right? And then if you remember the earthquake of what was it, 87 during the World Series in San Francisco?
89.
Is that 89?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one, like, fuck that. Like, when they make it sound, oh, it's a beautiful place, and it is, man. It's sunny and it's beautiful, but it's like, fuck that, dude. You're like I said, every third day of the month, you're fucking picking your paintings back up and your pictures on the wall, and you fucking, I mean, your drywall's cracked where the arch entryways and shit are at. Like, no. And
They're kind of freaky, man. They are. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather go through that than a tornado. That's just me personally. I'm not trying to sell you on it.
and then if you're not being rattled to death, you're being burned to death. I mean,
Right.
you can flip a fucking coin. Like today, I might be on fire, or I might fall through a crevice in the earth. I don't know. But California's a funny place to me. Or we don't have water.
Right. That's the left coast for you.
Water. We can't. We can't use energy. They can't fucking. I mean, Jesus. And
Buy your electric vehicles.
Right, dude, I found a crazy law the other day. I didn't know about this, and I don't know if it's new. I think it's fairly new. But like you can't order like me, I like my exotic boots, right? I like my freaking snake skins and crocodile alligator skins. You can't get that in California. You can't even order it in. So it's like a gun law, right? Like we know they have pretty strict gun laws. But I thought it was interesting that you're like saying, and then it's a funny California thing because it's always the same. It's like we in California have deemed we don't like they're a group. There's
Right.
probably fucking 50% of Californians that I'd love to have some ostrich skin boots, but I can't.
I bet you there's more than that. You know how many Mexicans are in California?
Oh, they're loving them. Yeah, yeah, right. Like 40%, right? Yeah, but so I found that out the other day. I thought that's fucking nuts, right? Like. So you literally, that was the only state, like, so I actually looked into it more. And if you wanted to, just say you wanted to get you wanted to get a purse or made of alligator skin or a boots, dress shoes, you can't. It literally said at the bottom of these stores I went in and looked at, like, if you want to go ahead and cannot, I forget the exact term, but it cannot ship to California. So it's a real thing. So that's crazy to me, dude. Like,
Have you ever lived there?
No, we used to travel there when we lived in
Fuck
Vegas.
it.
I love to visit, dude, but after like 3 days, I was like, "Get me the fuck out of here."
Yeah, I've lived there a couple different times, and San Diego's beautiful,
Uh-huh.
but man, that state, no thanks. I don't ever need to go back. I'm good.
It's a weird place, right? A lot of people don't understand that. I think if they don't live there, or if you haven't been there, and they got this, they're so caring attitude, but they got like about 5 minutes of patience with anybody.
Yeah.
They're really super friendly at first, and then
How about the fucking tent cities all over the fucking place?
where do where do you even begin on that? Like, I heard I have a friend that he lives up in Nebraska, in Omaha. And there's not even that many. It's like that's just over 1 million people. I guess they have like homing encampments there now. There's just nothing you can do about it. And what it really boils down to,
There's
it's just a mental illness thing.
well,
Like
that's
they take
it's.
medications and they can't get a job, and they're never going to get a job. They've been
I'm telling you, man. I am such a proponent for bringing back mental asylums, not the asylums of the old, but
lobotomies,
no
electroshock.
lobotomies, none of that shit. But
Kids just warming up, going, I want
that's
to.
right. The problem, is these individuals that need to be medicated. The county jails are acting as a pseudo mental health facility for these guys, because every time they come in, they have to get intake, they have to get evaluated, they get put on medication. Then what's the first thing they do when they leave? They go back to self-medication, either through alcohol or other illicit substances, and then they're fucking right back to cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. And then they're a drain on the justice system for sure. And it's not their fault. They're sick. So why are we not taking care of the sick like we say we will?
Because we got to send the money to Ukraine.
Right. And
so much of that fucking, and it's got to go to them. It just has to go to them, Andy.
It was a rhetorical question. I know. What's
Viva
Viva la Ukraine! Yay!
I'd heard a thing years ago, and it goes back to Obamacare when he was trying to get that pushed in. And I always found it interesting. Why doesn't he do something about a good place to really start that would have been more practical? Would have been the we have the privatized medical system or medicine, pharmaceuticals, and I'd heard that there was like 450,000 at that time. This was over 10 years ago. 450,000 mentally ill people in Florida they had known about, like that were documented, and over 250,000 of them couldn't afford their meds, so they were literally walking around fucking insane.
Yeah.
But he didn't care about that. He cared about whether you could get in for treatment, cancer treatment. And I think
it was all a deal with big pharma, man.
Yeah, or insurance companies. He was striking a deal with it. It was a handshake with insurance companies because it was a win-win for them. If you don't if you don't have insurance, we charge those people to pay for your insurance, and if they drop their insurance, we so basically everybody has to have insurance now.
Right.
And the people that had insurance can't ever drop insurance. It was a win-win for them.
But if you don't think, or for a second, that Big Pharma was a heavy, heavy lobbyist in that, you're sorely mistaken.
I'm sure they're lobbyists and everything. If you look
man, they're the fucking worst. But anyway, yeah, we should probably wrap it up. I need to go hang out in my bunker with my masturbatory aids.
One last question to you on that. So we're obviously in a different world. They're still making them, by the way. Did I send you that website? There's like a few websites that make bunkers. Yeah, you can still order the bunkers.
I think you did at one point, yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I'm sure they're really luxurious, maybe like a Humvee. Like, you don't need one, but it'd be cool if you had one. Right. Because of the day and age we're in, do you think that it would be a green bunker?
Like, one way or the other, you're expiring in 10 years, motherfucker.
Wouldn't it be like, it would be something like that? Don't worry, because this one here, we don't use generators because we don't believe in that.
Oh, so my God.
We have solar panels, and they go outside and they hook up, and all of your waste is recycled,
composted.
Yep, and it grows, and it goes to good usage. You know it. You know there's shit like that.
I guarantee it.
Be over with. They'd still be trying to sell that shit.
Guarantee it.
Yeah. Anyhow, Well, that's my take. I say this. We started to pull out of the nuclear bunkers in the 60s and 70s because obviously the Vietnam War was taking place and people quit thinking about them. So they started focusing more on that, and it kind of phased itself out. And that was about it. I don't think we came back to it. Then of course, uh, we kind of depowered Russia a little bit, which would have been the real threat.
You know, I did see a big spike up around the probably the mid 2000s.
Mhm.
Probably the first decade of the 2000s with prepping was big then. And there was a lot
Yeah,
of.
it still is. I actually have buddies that do it. I know one in particular that he I think he does it. He stocks up on his weaponry. He stocks up on his food. I think he probably wisely anticipates something. He doesn't have a bunker. Uh, if he listens to this one, maybe he'll think about getting one because you can still get them. God only knows what they cost now. Um, but yeah, he does stock up. He treats that very seriously, and I know that some people that do. I actually had a couple buddies that they were thinking about buying a bunch of property back in the day. A couple of them have died since because they didn't make it that long for the apocalypse. But they were thinking about buying like a property, making a compound on it, where
Mhm.
they would have, some probably like The Walking Dead or some shit like that. But yeah, I mean, people do prepare for that. I don't think it's the dumbest thing on earth. I remember when people were buying zombie bullets. Remember that? Just in
Yeah,
case. That was a hell of a gimmick, right? I don't think
yeah.
people really believed it, but it was something fun to do. But they did even prepare for that, like just maybe jokingly. I don't know if you can still see those kits in Sam's. I think Costco probably has them, but you can see those kits where it's got all the rations and shit like
Hmm.
that. It's
Yeah.
probably not. I mean, I
It's a
probably
good idea. You know,
yeah.
so I don't want to say I prep. I'm prepared for a lot of scenarios, but not overly so, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't obsess on it. I don't have stockpiles of all this shit. But yeah, you know, the food rations like that, that's a great idea because, you know, if we get hit by, you know, say we get hit by a tornado, which is very likely here, and our power goes out and they can't get the power back up for 10 days or so. You got to eat, right? You got to have some source of food. And if the power's out, the grocery stores, you know, they're not getting food in, so you can't go buy it.
Yeah, well,
It's
at that point, a lot of people would say, "Well, I always want to be able to get cash," and that was a big crypto thing, right? People like, "Well, that's BS because if something happens and the banks go down, I'm gonna need to get cash." And like, no, you don't get that. If they shut the fucking lights off, dude, picture the scenario if they shut the country's lights off right now. I guarantee you, 50% of this country kills each other in a
yeah,
matter of days. So, in terms of money, it's not going to be of any use to you anymore because people aren't buying shit anymore. First off,
right.
cash registers and computers aren't working. There's no there's going to be no need for it. People are going to steal what they need, and even the people that had all the buckets of cash stocked up are going to be stealing because their money. No one's going to be there to take their money.
You know the first motherfuckers to go? About
That's
90% of the LGBTQRS elemental P community.
yeah,
I'm serious because they're they're fighting a war right now with I don't even want to say this. When it comes to putting boots on the fucking ground, they're not going to last but a second. If we come to that kind of scenario, and just use you as an example, you're a member of the trans community. You have something I need, I'm taking it from you, and I don't give a shit about your fucking feelings.
hmm yeah. Well, that would definitely change things. I've said this. It's funny because so many on the right are more of that less capitalism, more socialism, which socialism always leads to communism. There's never been a case when it hasn't ever.
Right.
Uh, and don't think you're going to be the first that does because there's been bigger social experiments. And the reality of that is if we do lose, if it were, and I'm not saying that we are, but if we were to lose that war, and they do raid our shores, what do you think? It's most likely coming from China, Russia, maybe even India at this point. But it's coming from somewhere that's not Western culture, and they do not agree with what's going on here. And
Oh,
then
hell no.
If it's China, the first people gone are definitely who you just said, because they're not going to be of any use to them. First off, China's very nuclear family, so they want more people. They don't believe in, so that's definitely going to be the case, and it's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? You're all in on that one. Like if what makes this country great is the fact, and the people that they hate or against and think are against them are really the people that make it so they can do and believe in the things that they believe.
That's
But boy,
right.
those other guys come over. You're the first. I mean, let's just say everyone always wants to point to Hitler and what he did. Um, and we know, history's told us what he did. And let's just say that guy comes along again and does win. Hitler, if he doesn't get himself in a war, he completely takes France. Him and Stalin march into Poland. They take Poland. They're going to agree to split that up. Then he goes in and he starts hitting England. And then
If he
if he doesn't attack Russia,
bingo.
there's a fucking great chance they've got all of Europe. Because
Yep.
they took France in a matter of time. When we come into the picture and Canada comes in the picture, things kind of start to change a little bit. And of course, we know what happens. But now he's pissed Russia off. But if that guy does take over, yeah, it's a no-brainer that I don't. Douglas Murray has a good saying. He says, when the monsters are knocking out at our door, we're going to be asking what sex they are.
Right.
And that's
How do you identify?
Yep. Because
What are your pronouns?
Important, because it's not going to matter. Because they're going to line you up first. And
So, as cliche as this is, as it is, the movie Red Dawn, the original version, is a very real possibility, man. Not saying it would be the Cubans and the Russians, but that is a very real possibility that we're so weak on the fucking world stage right now that the loonies, man, like Putin and Xing Chong over there in China. I don't know what his name is. I can't pronounce it.
Is it she?
Bless you. I don't know. I'm sure.
Let's show our future leader some respect. We've always loved you. We've always thought you've been great.
My point is that they understand that our leadership is weak, and some of them are just crazy enough to do something stupid like come over here and invade. But the one thing that we have going for us, and it's what I believe it was Admiral Yamamoto said, the reason they didn't invade America is because behind every blade of grass is an American with a rifle.
Yeah, and that's a tough sell to your soldiers. So just say that you get through the military. Like, first off, the one thing that makes us so unbeatable is that the only way to us, we don't have enemies. Like most of those countries have enemies to the north, to the south. They have somebody that disagrees with them. We don't have them. We've made friends of the people to the north, Canada, and Trump did a good job of building relationships. And people would probably never want to admit this, but he was infamous for saying our brothers down below, and he tried to make them part of the family and incorporate them instead of isolating them, saying they're just people trying to cross our borders. He treated them as people that were a part of us, to make them part of the whole situation. And people would hate to admit that, but he did. You can listen to that. You can find those videos where he says it. So we don't really have anybody that's a threat to us, where like China does, or Hong Kong, not Hong Kong, North Korea, South Korea. You've got, you got the Middle East, you've got Europe. We don't have anybody like that. And the only people that would have to travel through water to get to us. And if I'm right, and I think that I am, I believe our Navy's 10 times larger than the entire world. It's all combined, right? Now no, it's not.
China's is right up there with us.
Are you sure? Like I thought.
Positive.
Okay.
China actually has more submarines than we do.
Okay.
I believe they have more airplanes than we do.
But
They've
you got to
been
get here, and most likely any war that if we know about, it's going to be fought. It's going to be fought on your soil. You know, you
right.
said a comment last few weeks. The only war we'll ever win again would be on our soil, and I think that if it got to that point, and because of what I just said, we don't have any common enemies near us. Mexico's not looking to take us out. Canada's not looking to take us out. Anybody who's looking to take us out is going to have to travel a long fucking way to do it.
Right.
Um, and most likely in that case, and
Well, here's another factor. Um, the military is bound by rules of engagement, right? ROEs. So our hands are tied a lot with regards to tactics. Like the whole last 20 years could have been over within 3 years if we were allowed to do what we were supposed to do. But too many lawyers and politicians get involved and they just get our brothers and sisters killed. But moving off of that soapbox, if this country is invaded, do you think all the damn rednecks that own weapons, do you think they're going to abide by any fucking rules of engagement? Oh no, son. It's going to be brutal
yeah,
for the invading army.
yeah, and the interesting thing about what you're saying is, so let's just say that they make it here. Let's just say that they get past our military. That there's is it Glenn Beck has the 9/12 initiative, and that was when we all came together. Remember, like we just 9/11 happened, and 9/12 didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter if you were
Right.
gay, you were black, you were Hispanic, you're Asian, white. We all came together because we had a common enemy, and that's the way when we're united, we are. And that's the type of situation where it's kind of like your brothers, like your sisters. Like there's that weird, there's that blood. Like you don't get to pick your family, right? But nobody else gets to fuck with them,
That's
right? It's like
right.
these are my fucking. I can say what I want about them, but you can't. You can't say what you want about them because there's that weird connection, and that I think that's the way it would be here. I mean, you can divide us. At least I'd like to think that's the way it would be. But the minute you step foot on our shore, well, I think we're all rising up together. And
Game
no,
on.
no one's gonna give a fuck what your sexual preference is, what your fucking color of your skin is. They're gonna look and go, "What jersey do you have on? What
Right.
color are you wearing today?" Because let's go get these motherfuckers. And
We
that's what you can't. No one's ever gonna want to step ground on this, knowing that. And if they think we're that divided, I think they'd be in for a second guess if it did happen. I think
Oh,
we'd
for
forget
sure,
them really
man.
quickly. Yeah, we'd forget them. We can talk about that stupid, a lot of the shit that really in the face of things doesn't matter. But I think we'd get real serious real quick. But
Oh yeah.
you never know. You never know what the other team's making. I think personally, it'll be a power shutdown. And I think that if you do it that way, we're gonna kill each other. You should
Yeah.
come clean up afterwards. Be
Yeah.
like you look fucking bulldozers through the streets, pushing everything out of the way. We will
Don't
offend our
um
neighbors.
don't be surprised, man.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it. I had a buddy who was in Intel he worked in Lawrence for a while up there in Kansas, and then he went into the private sector. But he said that that's how they were training. That the government wasn't. The next war will not be fought with military missiles. It will be fought through cyber.
Yeah. Take out
Which
the infrastructure.
yes, which takes me to this, man. I always say, you know, during the war, we were all fighting for that, and I think it's really popular now since Oppenheimer came out, so people are pretty freshened up on this. But that's a true story, right? We get a bunch of scientists. I think it's 12 or whatever. I haven't seen the movie, but just going off of my history basis, you get the 12 guys. They go together. They're working on something, and no one else knows. It's hidden. It's top secret.
Right.
I think you're crazy if you think for a second. I don't know. I have no inside sources. It's just my theories, but I think you're crazy if you think America after 1940. When did we drop that? 45 or
40 yeah, 45.
we got 45. I think you're crazy if you think America just said, well, that's it. Let's just rest on our laurels and
Right.
sit on our
That's a
fucking hands
wrap.
for the last. Yeah, that's it. I think we're good to go. I think you're crazy if you don't think there's something else that you like that, maybe in a different fashion that you're never going to know about. And I've often come back to this one, dude, and I know people think this is crazy, but the Star Wars program, Reagan talked about it, and Trump kind of brings it up again later on, and people laughed at him. He said Space Force, but if you kind of put the two together, it was kind of the Reagan plan, right? He was, we're gonna handle this up high. There's the old saying. When I used to be a roofer, I got in an argument with a bricker one time, and a shingle fell off the roof and about hit him, and he started screaming at me. And he says, "You do that one more time, I'm gonna throw a brick up." And I go right ahead. I'm gonna throw a bundle down, and they come down harder than that comes up. And that's the theory, right? So you're gonna be dropping shit from the skies, and I just think you're crazy if you don't think. I wonder sometimes that really ever, Starlink, Musk, SpaceX, what's going on? I don't know.
Nothing according to Mark Sargent.
Right, because we have a limited space.
Hey, I want to leave you with some food for thought, something to ponder.
Hold on, though. I'm going to start working on my ration diet. Is it dried out, dehydrated food for thought, or is it regular?
It's whatever you fucking want it to be. I mean,
no. Okay.
Yeah.
Funny. Whatever. Fuck yourself. Tell me. Go ahead.
Try harder. Dude, have you noticed that Russell Brand has been accused of all these sexual assaults? And so has the guy that was the movie was made about, the trafficking dude. What was it? I can't remember the name of that movie.
Oh, Caviezel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the guy that he played, the real dude.
Okay.
So it's awful suspect to me, man. Until I see hard evidence, I have to. I'm gonna put my aluminum foil hat on and say, you know what? These guys have been very vocal, anti-government, against the establishment. Both of them, especially with the movie, with the popularity of it. You can't cancel them, so now what are you gonna do? Well, let's trump up some fucking charges. And what's the one that will fuck you no matter if you're found innocent or not?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I will say from what I do know, which is nothing. I have followed Brand. I do. I didn't know that he had built a lot of his career off of being very promiscuous. He comes out and says that. I was watching from on Sky Australia or Piers Morgan or something, and he had a guest on. She had made up a list of excerpts from his book or quotes.
He's a dirty motherfucker, wasn't he?
Well,
but you know what? He was single.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as somebody, if you have some game, first off, you don't remember a lot of it. I don't think you don't. I don't think if you've been with is that many, you don't really.
But before I lose this train of thought, look at the hypocrisy. You're going out and giving this guy shit for being so promiscuous, but you want us to come in there and respect your fucking, I feel like a man, I feel like a woman.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay, so I'll get to that. I think I don't know enough about it. I wouldn't form any judgment until I did know enough about it, because it very well could have happened, and if it did, shame on him. If it didn't,
totally.
I don't know.
I agree.
I don't. I do know that when you get into those positions where a lot of it's drinking, a lot of it's fucking, it's having fun, you can get yourself into, you're putting yourself out there more. And then when you write books and you say about, now I'm not saying that right, this isn't what you're saying it is, because I'll finish it up with something else that I can give you some thought. But you certainly can't form that judgment and say, I'm sticking by him, I'm with him, and then vice versa, screw them. You've got to look at this. You can definitely take a realm of skepticism, but you've got to sit back. You've got to wait. You can't do what YouTube did. I mean, I don't understand what they did. So they demonetized him.
Oh yeah.
You just took it as his business. So you just shut down a guy. Now I'm sure he's got other shit on the side, but they don't. Let's just say that he doesn't. You just shut his fucking business down, and he had a pretty good business going. And you just told the guy, what world can you do that to? You can't do that in any other. You can't. Let's say that you own a fucking chain of McDonald's, and you get caught. McDonald, they can't. The government can't go. No more McDonald's for you. Shutting your restaurants down. But they did do that with him. They shut his business down. And I think the worst part about that is he's not guilty yet.
Exactly.
Maybe he did do those things. I don't know, but you sure as fuck don't either. Maybe he didn't do those things. Where does it come into play where we say, let's just sit, we don't need to react. Again, that's fear. We don't need to overreact right now. Let's get the facts. Let's figure out if it happened. And then let's move forward accordingly. But I will say this, in regards to what you mentioned, I find the timing suspect, right? Like you just mentioned. It literally is, and it's not just everybody. They went after Lemon. Don Lemon had some things where there was some gay. The guy, he rubbed his balls in his mouth or whatever the hell it was he did. I can't remember. Who's the guy on that just
Tucker
got fired?
Carlson.
Romeo. Well, his brother was a governor.
Oh,
Cuomo. They went after him a little bit, took him down, maybe rightfully so. This is just, I'm splitting hairs here, but my point is that it does seem to be anytime someone comes out against the political agenda, the political thinking, you're almost guaranteed to get, this is going to happen to you. You may as well fucking mark your calendar. But
right.
having said that, I want anyone who's listening or thinks maybe he did do it, maybe he didn't do it. Just think about this. We just recently came out of a movement. I think we're kind of out of it. The Me Too movement. It
Pound
was like
me too.
years ago, right? 10 years ago, these people started writing this article. So I consider the Me Too movement the hunting season for people like Weinstein and what they're saying about Brand. That's hunting season. 3 years ago was hunting season. Are you fucking telling me that you put your guns in the closet, kept your hunting clothes off to the side until it was over? So you could have come, meaning that would have been a perfect time for all this shit to come out. There's not a better time in the world than about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Weinstein goes down. They go after everybody, even people that like Stallone that say they didn't do it. And then they get some of them fought it. Some of them won. Johnny Depp. So right there is prime hunting season. Isn't that the time you go after this guy, Russell Brand?
What about the dude that was fighting the human trafficking? Same thing.
Same thing. But what do they both have in common?
They're anti-establishment.
What the fuck they were until about, I think Brand started building it up about maybe a year ago, maybe two tops. I'd have to look to be certain. But so what I'm saying is he wasn't really a threat to this political thinking until about 2 years ago, which would have put him out of hunting season. So my point is just anybody that has questions about that, think about that. They had all, if they had this shit, they had the prime time that you can fucking kill anything you want right now, and everyone's on your side, and believe all women.
No bag limit.
Not a fucking word. They said, you know what? No, we'll wait till they take postings on saying, hunting allowed, and then we'll go after him. No, I don't think this is. Again, I don't know.
I'm with you. If he did it, then I hope he rots. If that's the case, if he did it and it's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, well, then you get what you deserve.
Yeah, 100%. And I have a wife, I love. I wouldn't want something like that to have happened to her. I have dogs in the fight. You as well. We have kids. We have daughters. I totally wouldn't want this happening. So I'm on both sides of it here. I'm certainly not going to stand up for someone because you're on my team or you say the things I want to hear, but you did those things. Go fuck yourself. I could care less.
Right.
But I think we got to wait. We got to sit back. We got to take it all in. It's fairly new and it's it's high profile right now. It'll calm down. We'll get the facts. Anything could happen. But that's just one thing to think about. I find it interesting that they literally had the prime time to go after this guy. So and I've heard 10 to 16 years. Some of them go at 16 years, like from 2006 maybe.
Hmm.
So you had a perfect. What is the word? Make hay while
Opportunity.
the sun shines, and you had the perfect opportunity to make a lot of fucking hay about 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't hear a peep. It's interesting if you look at the timing of it. Again, I'd have to check to be 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain that he started really getting subscribers. When I started subscribing, I think he only had like 2 million, and I think
Hmm.
he's at 6 now. So that was about a year ago, I think. I hit him up. So you got to think, well, he probably started about 2 years ago, and then it's, I mean,
It's just suspect, is all I'm saying.
oh, it's
I
very suspect. That's
I
what I'm.
don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe they exist.
Mhm. Well, and to think about what I just said, to add to that, if you wanted some support, let's say you're one of the girls that went through that, and God forbid, you've had to live with that, and it's been on your mind, and it's been eating you away, and you've wanted to get. You say you've seen this guy on Rogan a lot, you're seeing this guy on TV. He's still out there, and it infuriates you, and I get it, 100%. And I don't know if it's true how that must feel that this guy's life's getting bigger and better, and maybe that could drive something like this. I can see that, and
Sure.
I 100%, I can. What's the word I'm looking for? Is I empathize with that? I
Mhm.
get it, but um, I just find it funny that you would wait until he got to the peak, and then he starts. I think he's talking about COVID vaccinations, stuff
Yep.
like that, and all of a sudden. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's interesting that you could have come out 3 4 years ago and you would have so many supporters. You would have had so many people saying hashtag me too. We feel you, sister. Hashtag me too.
Right.
Believe all women. We're here for you. Hashtag me too. Nope. They decided, you know what? We don't want that support. We don't want to be in that time. We're gonna wait. Wait till
With
this
your
all cools down, and then we're gonna hit him.
with your
Uh,
free pink pussy hat.
Yeah. I guess we don't know. I don't know, but I think keep a realm of what's the word I'm looking for? Be realistic, be patient, wait to hear what comes out because he could be completely innocent
Right.
and then you ruin a man's life for that. And that's not the first time we've done it. I just listened to a
Nope.
podcast today where Canada threw a fucking dude in jail because of the way he acted. He was a little bit weird and they threw him in jail for the murder of a girl and it turns out he didn't do it. We're not new to ruining people's lives over false accusations.
Nope.
And maybe he did do it too. I don't know. We'll find out.
What makes me so mad about it is how these companies that he or his employers or whoever just immediately drop them.
That's the shame of it because
That's
no
what
shame
gets me
on you if
angry.
you're wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to think about. I do this a lot. You're a father. I do this a lot. I'll be missing something or like, your computer's not working or something's out of place, and you immediately want to scream at your kids because you're pretty certain it was them, right?
Hmm.
Generally, it is them, and you know that, so you want to start screaming. As a father that knows that if you do that, you lose some credibility. You just yell at your kids, maybe for nothing, and maybe you'll find it in your room or closet, or maybe you find it. Oh, fuck, that's right, I did that. That was me that did that. God damn it! And you feel terrible.
Right.
That's kind of the same situation. If you ruin a person's life, you demonetize him, you take his earnings away, and then um, you're doing the same thing. And shame on you. I've said it to myself a million times when I've overreacted like that, and I've acted too quickly. And it's one thing you've got a girl. when you do it to your little girl and you get mad to the point where she's like, I didn't do it. Like, I don't believe that because every time it's you, and then later on you find out you were wrong, it breaks your fucking heart.
Yep.
I wish these people sometimes had a heart that could be broken because I just don't think they do. And
I'm with you, man. There's a lot of
that's my take on it.
psychopathic
Yeah.
tendencies going around. Anyway, look at that. Jesus, it's almost 2 hours.
Is it 2 hours? God, you talk a lot.
Hour and 49 minutes.
Well, it took we had to go through your music list twice, right? And you kept trying to sneak shit in. Or no, that was only three. No, no, no.
Wow.
Well, I said Pink Floyd.
There's
You
a
got
lot
like,
of,
you got Vision Quest, Whitney Houston, Pink Floyd,
awful lot of
Queen,
whining going on in here.
and, Boston, Doobie Brothers.
Wow. Are you done?
Dude, look at my bunker has my bunker has 5 CDs. You're forming a DJ business.
Wait, who talks a lot? I'm
All right,
trying to figure that one out.
I'm done.
Anyway, all right. Next week, what do we talk about next week? I believe it's
We've got
missing in action heroes.
yeah, that's next week's. I'll be gone. I'm gonna be at the ocean with my lovely family.
Nice.
My lovely wife, and hopefully all of my past, because our podcast's so big. I don't want to see that's really people, listeners, 3 listeners. That's why we don't want to get too big, is we don't want to become demonetized, and we don't want people coming after us for past
transgressions.
Yeah, right, buddy.
We'll leave it right there at that.
Yeah,
because I got a lot of them.
in action heroes. So tune in next week where we will be discussing what the difference in the type of action heroes we grew up in, and
the sissies you have now.
Yeah, the sissies you got now that you can't live up to unless you can shoot fucking laser beams out of your eye. I don't know if I added this last week. I sort of meant to. That comparing and contrasting one of the things that we had with Rambo and Die Hard, John McCain, is that we could live up to that, right? We could be a cop and be McClane. We could go be a Green Beret or try to do that. We could get into karate and be like Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee. We could do all that. We could at least try. And today you can't really live up to that. And I think that's a big part of our culture, is that you can't live up to today's action heroes because you're never going to be able to fucking fly. You're never going to be able to shoot gamma rays or have superhuman strength or jump over tall buildings or run fucking around the globe 6 times in a minute. So what do? Well, you got to exaggerate. And I think that's part of the virtue signaling that we see everywhere when people need to let you know all the good things that they've done. I think it's because you've taken the fucking the wind out of everybody's sails. They can't live up to this shit anymore, and they can't be real heroes like Eastwood and Heartbreak Ridge and shit.
So I gotta disagree with you for a second. I can live up to that because whenever I
get out of bed in the morning.
No, whenever I eat Taco Bell, I shoot fire out of my ass.
You sure do. Right? Actually, you sent me the picture of that toilet, your camping toilet. I was like, oh, I'll bet that motherfucker gets blown out.
Oh, but did it, man? Holy shit! See what I did there? All right, well, let's get out of here. What do you say?
Get the fuck out of here. It's 2 hours, really?
Yeah. All right. Peace out.
Peace out.